Oh, there we are now. Good evening. Welcome along into the Monday, Tuesday show.
Oh, it's Tuesday. I have to put my bins out. I should just
You
remember
better
that.
go. There's
No, the
there's
green bin. The green bin.
the dishwasher's finished early for everyone that's not watching at
Ah,
this
yeah, the
moment. Well,
beeping noise and
yeah,
sales gaff is the
yeah.
dishwasher. I thought it was a tumble dryer.
No, it's the dishwasher.
All right, okay.
Can't get the lighting right.
The lighting's grand.
No,
Moving
I'm
your
not happy with it.
right. Anyway, I have to put my green bin out. So just that.
Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes.
No,
Make
not
sure
now. Just has to go out tonight. So there you go.
I forgot to put my foundation on just to take away. So you can see
Don't
what
worry
I
about
look
it. I'm
like
in a
after.
jocker.
You know what I mean?
The house is
And look,
upside
all
down.
the medals are gone. See this? Look, all the medals are gone.
And that's not balancing the mic now.
No. I had them all here though.
Yeah. Did we get to talk about your last race?
I nearly got a dig this evening. My missus was saying to me something, and so I said, I walked over here and I took a medal off.
Oh, and handed her a medal? What do you want, a medal? Oh, yeah, no, that doesn't go down well.
I could get a plate in the head here.
Yeah. I think so. I wouldn't blame her either. Did we talk about your last race, though?
We did talk about the last race. I don't know if we did. I think we did, yeah. I did well last week. Well, actually, anyway. the new, I remember I said to you on Saturday, I was thinking of going out and doing a bit of a video as I'm going along training, just so to sort of bring everyone along, control up on the channel and stuff like that to see what we're going through. So that was the lovely plan. Got into the gear and I said, right, what I'll do is I'll do 2 or 3 clips from the really nice sites, because one of the benefits of cycling is that you do get to cycle to lots of lovely places, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying to me, what's that first topic that I had there, right? I'll come across it now in a second, right? So when you're cycling through the Scalp close to where I live, the Scalp is a part of the Wicklow Dublin border, and it's basically an old glacial cuff valley which has the bits of rock on one side and the other side.
Do you think people have got used to now when me and you do this show that we just spend the first 10 minutes talking about you and your bike?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? It's a film as bike topic, right? But I was telling you about the feral goats, and you were like, what are you talking about, right? So, in the
You
Scalp,
said to me earlier, I want to talk about the feral goats that live in the Scalp. And I was like,
yeah.
Scalp on your head? Like, is he fucking like hallucinating? What's going on?
No.
But it's a place.
There's actual wild goats, and in Ireland that's strange. I know people who don't live here.
Yeah, most people claim ownership to the goats. Like,
yeah, but there's very few real wild animals in Ireland. You might have a bit of foxes and the odd badger here and there and hedgehogs and stuff like this, right?
Yeah.
But big lads, like big lads, like goats are big lads. They aren't small fellas, right? They're big. They're fairly big. No, they're not horses or cows. They're dangerous.
Yeah, they're
so
pricks.
It's like,
they're Slavians. You can go close enough to them, you think everything's grand, and then they back away,
and then they go mad.
Just spear you.
But the only thing I'd say is, with this, you can actually smell them, right? So I can tell you, I swear, this isn't a word of a lie. Right? The first time I got this
is like a sequel to the fucking Sixth Sense going on here. Come on.
The first time was last year. I was out. It must have been about 5:45 in the morning. It was in the summertime. I was going out. I started off early before working to get 25-30 kilometers in or whatever it was, just so I'd have it done in the bag done. And I was like, it was coming along, and I was like, what's that?
Are you sure that wasn't just the smell of shite? Because like
no.
In
do
Ireland,
you know what it smells like?
A huge smell of shite in Ireland. Like in the summer,
do you know what it smells like?
Spreading this stuff across the fields.
No, that's where you're wrong, Gav. Do you know what it smells like? You know, lamb after you've cooked it and you've put it in the fridge for a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
Not a couple of days, but like the next day or whatever, and then you smell the lamb.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it smells like. So that's how I knew it doesn't. It smells like lamb.
Starving. Going home.
Right? I was literally going, oh, where's this? There's lamb somewhere. And next minute I looked up, and here they are. These lads just wandering around, half of them hanging out the side of the rocks and the side of the Scalp, and the other fellas just wandering on the road. And I was terrified, because like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind cows. Even a bull now, I'd fancy my chances of getting away from, right? But the goats are such a random lot.
Yeah, they're more they're more athletic than you think. I think goats.
They're way more to them. And they're sly. They can rock climb.
Oh, they're completely they're Slavians. I don't care what anyone says.
I've seen them up the sides of the mountains, and it's right.
Rock climbing goats.
The next time I'm cycling past them, I'll take a couple of pictures and we can throw them up. We can even put them up here just to prove that I'm not making this up. This is real. So for anyone that lives around Dublin, if you're heading up between Stepaside and Enniskerry is the Scalp. put the windows down in the car if you're going, slow down, give it an old sniff, and if you can smell a bit of lamb, the goats are somewhere, right? Keep your eye out because you'll see them hanging out on the side of the mountain. So it is what you're doing. Anyway, long story short, we went to the videos, did a thing. I ended up, what started off as a warm 16 degrees sunny morning start, ended up being 4 degrees, snow, and a hurricane wind on top of between Capure, which is a mountain, and Ticknock, which is another mountain. Me crying, realizing that I had to do 75 kilometers and going, I'm not doing any videos, and just fighting against the 16% gradient and heading off up around the mountain and going, I've been so far.
We've spoken about this. I think you should get the equipment. I think you should record yourself in different spots. Give it to me. I'll edit it and put it out on a YouTube channel because I think it'd be brilliant.
Got as far as the Sean Kelly Bridge, went a little bit further than that, head to Capure Village, went right.
Yeah, and just stop by the goats, have a chat with them, ask them what the crack is, and we'll just put it out there. You know
so I'm going to take pictures of the goats and the other animals and the stuff as we're going along. So it's phenomenal. Right?
Robert Maguire says, I love the city head's view on the countryside. Robert, listen, it doesn't matter where you're from. Goats are fucking pricks. There's no doubt about it. Cows will walk down the road, hundreds of them. And they're in the ascendancy, you against 60 cows getting shepherded down the road from one field to another, and they don't give a bollocks what you're doing, right?
And see, Andy, can I just
the only bad thing a cow has ever done to me is a shit on the front of me van once. When I was down, between
two flat tires, did you?
No, I was down between Gorey and I was heading between Gorey and Carlow. I was just past Carnew, I think was the name of the place, and they were just shepherding them across the field, and this thing just fucking shit. It just projectiled out of its hole onto the bonnet of the van, and it went in. Do you know what it went in? Do you know the drip tray for the water when it comes out the windscreen? Also, it went in there. And there was no getting rid of it. And then because the air filters and all of there, so all you could tell was straight. And then when I got to Carlow, I ended up just had to get the van washed. The van wasn't even dirty. I brought it to the man. You wouldn't wash that van, would you? And he was like, the van's spotless. I was like, wash the fucking van. So cows are grand. The other fellas are pricks.
Get the power washer out. Goats are dangerous. That's all I'm saying. Most dangerous, most unassuming dangerous animal out there. So when you're the goat, it's not just the greatest of all time. You could be also the most dangerous.
It's the way they go up to you and you think it's grand, and they back off you, and then you get even more comfortable, and then they just fucking go for you. Anyway,
and they lower the head, and those horns are dangerous. There's a reason why whenever you look out there, you see the devil, and he's portrayed as somebody with the head of a goat. Think about it. Right?
Ashley reckons goat sniffing will be a really niche area of YouTube. the goat sniffer instead of like the goat whisperer or something. Just you cycling up. I can imagine. Do you know what would be perfect? I think right. We should get on to football in a minute, but anyway. Do you remember, and anyone that's Irish here will remember this, if you're not Irish, go onto YouTube and type in The Angelus, right? Yeah. So The Angelus, the best ever, like The Angelus is just gong at 6 o'clock in the evening. They still play it in Irish.
People look at it.
No, but it was the best one ever was when they done this thing where it used to be like just people going about their business, walking into a shop or thing, and the gong would go on. It'd be just little clips. But they came out with an Angelus one of the years, right? Whatever year it was, and basically when the gong went off, people would just look up as you looked right into the top left of the screen, right? And it was like even down to fellas playing pool in the pub, right? And he'd be over the shop and the gong would go and he'd just lift his head on the table and look up into the corner. It was fantastic. But if you done this right, okay, I reckon you going up a hill on a bike, right? And just when you get the sniff of the lamb, which is actually a goat, and you go and look up, you'd make it onto the Angelus when they bring it back as a retro. So that's how I think it'd be. So there you
just go. Me with my helmet in the scalp with the glasses going like that.
Yeah, just no, like you're sniffing. But RTE will take it the wrong way and think that'd be excellent. That'd be excellent for the revamp of the Angelus. But honestly,
a goat just passing past.
Yeah. If you've never, even the goat looking up, right? But if you've never seen it, seriously, you can find it on YouTube. You type in the Angelus, and there's a couple of them there. But genuinely, there's one where no matter what people are doing in their lives, and there's definitely a fella playing pool in a pub, right?
There's definitely a fella playing pool.
The gong goes off. and he looks away. He lifts up from the table and everything. It's fantastic.
And I'll tell you one thing as well. You also have to go. There's a fella getting directions on the street, right? There's a part in it, right? There's a fella getting directions. They're having a chat, and next minute the gong goes, and they both stop, right? So imagine like a randomer who's never been, but knows to look up.
Yeah, and then I think that might be another one where someone's hanging there washing, and they're just fucking putting a peg on. The gong goes, just stops, mid peg. And just goes, that sounds wrong actually, mid-peg is a wrong thing to say nowadays. And it's like, boom, and they just look up and it's fucking mad. But there you go.
That's the opening to get the juices going. So it's on with the chat about the football as we move away from the goats. I'll have no big stories to tell this week. Just so you know, for next week, I'm not doing anything big at the weekend. It's a special.
But we will find 10 minutes to discuss anything.
We'll discuss anything. I'll have something to discuss on Monday.
Paul Gallagher's had enough. He just wrote football in big caps, so he's had enough of us. Fair enough.
I may not be on next Monday. I'm just letting you know now because it's a very special day. I mightn't be on. Okay,
I'm walking. I'm out walking for a client next Monday, so I should be alright.
There's something I need to tell you about that off air. I won't tell you about that later on, right? Anyway.
Okay. All right, cool.
That's something about that. Anyway, right, good evening. Welcome along, everyone. Getting onto the football now, since we've stopped talking about goats, cycling.
Just type yes or no into the chat if you want us to edit out the first 11 minutes.
Yeah, and we'll pay no attention to it because that's what we do. That's it. So, look, tonight we're going to have a chat about, well, if you talk goats is weird, we're going to be talking about Matt Letizier's podcast, right? Because that's even
one of the most fantastic things I've ever seen.
I think we might keep that to the end. I think that's like a bit like when we started talking about Steve Bruce.
It's definitely the end bit,
right?
Yeah.
Because I need you to tell me.
I am trying to chase up the guy that done a deep dive into Steve Bruce's books, and I really want to get him on, the Irish fella. Really want to get him on.
Didn't I tell you that was a brilliant podcast? Didn't I tell you that?
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Definitely, totally recommended. Anyone should listen to the upshot. It's definitely worth it. All the episodes, but that one in particular, the Steve Bruce one, is great.
Unreal.
So look, tonight we're going to have a chat about a couple of different things. Gav, you want to talk about Klopp in the last 6 games, what way he wants to go. I want to have a chat about pretenders, in particular our strikers. I think there's a debate to be had now at this point in time around it, particularly the newer fellas, mainly the ones signed by Julian Ward, because they're to be discussed. And then we can have a chat about something else, which I completely forgot that's gone out of the top of my head. But I remember it by then. And then Matt Letizia is at the end. And there was something else I'd said to you that
if you can't remember now, there's no point.
Oh, no, I will.
I think you wanted to cheer Arsenal onto a title. I think you said that too.
No, actually, that was the last bit I wanted to talk about. Anyone but City, right? Because it's like
I'm on that shit. But
right,
I am anyone but City. But I'm swaying on that, and I have a reason for it.
I think we might actually. I think we're going to end up in the same territory here, right? It's because we'll come back to it. But let's get on to the proper chat, right? So, Gav, last 6 games, what do you want Klopp to
do? I think this came into my head very quickly after the game on Sunday. The game on Sunday for me was, we discussed on Sunday night, very frustrating in the way we started the game. Very frustrating in how we looked after the ball. The goal we concede is not one we usually concede, because we usually, not that teams don't get in behind us, but we usually find the right positions to make sure that when the ball comes in, we're in the right place to kind of cut it out. Chances missed by numerous people. And my big takeaway from it is that I don't know whether it's a nervousness. I don't know whether it was a lack of respect for Atalanta and probably Crystal Palace. I don't know whether it's the team running out of steam a little bit. And you can argue whether that's a viable thing. I don't really go with that. I'm going to be honest with you. I think if Liverpool started games like a house on fire and just were a bit unlucky and kind of got caught in the last 15, you go, they're running out of steam. But that's not the case. They're all over the fucking shop from the first kick of the ball. And it got me thinking about what way I want Klopp to approach these last 6 games. And the reason is because when I was talking on Sunday night, I was saying to people, if I hear one person give out, if we go away to Fulham on Sunday and we haven't left our own half in the first 15 minutes and we're still 0-0, and we're in the game, and I hear one person fucking moan out, I'll lose me shit, right? And I don't know if I stand by that statement anymore, because I think Klopp's overthinking it. Right? I think he's overthinking it a bit. I think he's trying to be partially too cute and partially kind of, we be okay, right? And part of me is actually thinking, and this is nothing against him, but when you know you're leaving a job.
Yep.
And you just start to turn off, but the attention to detail drops. It's human, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's happening, but you could make an argument to say it is happening. So what do I want? I want Liverpool to go out all guns fucking blazing. I want them to sit them down and say, right, listen, we've 7 games left realistically, because I can't see us overturning that thing on Thursday night. But we've 6 league games left, lads. Let's go out on our fucking swords here. I'd rather him go out on a sword where he comes out against Fulham, against Everton, against West Ham, against Spurs, against Villa, and against Wolves, and go, do you know what? Fuck it. We're going to come out here, because Liverpool don't come out anymore and go, we're going to go for you. We might misplace a few passes, but we're going to hunt you down, and then we're going to fucking play a bit of roulette with it, but we're going to see how we can go, right? I want us to go out on our swords, Phil, and I'll take whatever result comes. Right? I still believe we're in the title race. 2 points behind with 6 to go. I think anything can happen, but I think I'd rather, if we're going to win it, fair enough. But if we're going to lose it, I'd rather say, but you know what, boys? We went through a sticky patch and we went back to what we know we're good at. Intensity, a bit mad, and just a bit of mayhem. And in between, we can control games when we need to. That's what I'd like to see us do. And I don't know whether that'll work. And I don't know whether we have the players to do it. I think we do. And I just think the biggest thing in my head, Phil, is that we're misplacing passes and we're switched off a little bit, because I think we've gone away from what we usually do. And when you go away from what you usually do, no matter how good you think you are, it takes you time, especially in a team game when there's 11 of you. It's hard enough for one person to change their outlook and approach on something. But if you ask 11 people to change that outlook and change the way we're kind of approaching things and trying to do things, it's hard. It's very, very hard. And I think we've gone into games now where we're kind of, what's going to happen here? And then we're a bit bleeding frail, and we can see the goal, and then we click. And the funny thing is, after Sunday, we go a goal down, and we're actually quite good. We're actually quite good. They have 2 good chances. One where Robertson's off the line, one where Alisson makes a mad save, but your man should score. And then we have some really good chances where the keeper does well. We're a bit unfortunate, and then we're just poor. And I just don't think it suits us, Phil. I'd rather us go out. I genuinely would rather say to me, you're going to go 1-0 down after 65. If you're going to go 1-0 down, go 1-0 down after 65, but you've had a right fucking go at them, and you've done what's true to yourself. That's where I would like it to be. I don't know what you think. I don't know whether you're big on is it tiredness, is it nervousness, is it what, but something there tells me that it's a bit tentative because of a change of approach. And I don't know whether the change of approach is due to a physical thing or a tactical thing.
Do you know what, right? It's hard to know. I think the injuries, I've said for 8-9 weeks, to do what we've done with those injuries is amazing, right? But I think because the players who came in and did so well for us are now starting to get injured, and the fellas that we wanted to have in the team are coming back, it's like everything. The style of play that we have, it always takes 2 to 3 games to get lads up to speed. Do you know that way, to bring the intensity and bring it? And I thought the gas thing was, you go back to that Palace match, 26 shots. Look at the last 3 games. We have so many shots on target, right? We have so many opportunities to win those games. It's not like everyone feels that we're playing terrible because the results aren't coming our way, right? But we're making way more than enough chances to win all these games and win them at a canter, Gav. I'm not even talking about winning them at the odd goal here or there. Go back 4, 5, 6 games, and we probably win a couple of them 3-1, 4. You know what I mean, in terms of what they are. They go in, they're scruffy. One goes in scruffy, and all of a sudden you take off. I don't think much needs to change, but I'm looking at the run in is horrible. I don't think I hadn't realised how many. We've only 2 home games left for the rest of the season. 4 away games and 2 home games.
Yep,
that's a smelly running.
Yeah,
it's right. And
Well, the reason it's like that is because of the Everton game got moved.
Yeah,
so that's where
Liverpool feels. I know, but it's still there. So like you're going, you've got Everton away, West Ham away, Fulham away,
Fulham away, Everton away, West Ham away, Spurs at home, Villa away, Wolves at home.
Wolves at home. Like, that's a horrible running. Like, don't get me wrong, right? You're basically we're going to crown who gets the 4th place essentially, right? You're hoping that West Ham and Fulham have the feet up, straight up going into those games, right? Well, those games need. Do you know what they need? This is the one thing they need, and this is what the one thing they haven't been doing. They need to stop conceding first, right? They need to start fast. One of the things that used to be a trademark of Klopp's early years when he came to the club was how fast they'd come out the blocks at you. And they hit you before you even had a chance to settle into the game, right? And teams would be beaten inside the first 20 to 25 minutes. Now it's like we want to see what they have in them. And then we start counter-punching.
But you see, that's not what... I don't think it is that. I fully agree with you. We used to come out and go hammer and tongs at teams and be like, right, the intensity's up, the speed of the game, and they'll make mistakes and we'll make mistakes, but we'll back ourselves to, work out the mistakes and better than they would, and then we take advantage. But to me, it's like, if we went hell for leather at Crystal Palace in the first 10 minutes there on Sunday, and Crystal Palace broke and scored, you'd say, you know what? We play like that. We got caught short because we played that high up the pitch and stuff like that. That's fine. But Phil, we didn't. We came out and we meandered around the fucking pitch. And if you look at the Palace goal, they just pass, and no one's tracking. Everyone turns off. No one's in the right position. Canate's not in the right position, then doesn't throw a leg at it. And I'm okay when Liverpool can see the goal and you go, look, they just fucking broke on us and they managed a bit of quality. You can't, you know what I mean? You're playing against really good footballers and you're taking risks. But this isn't it. This is us half going to do what we usually do and then half standing off. And then when you do that, all sorts of confusion happens. And I lean towards a nervousness in the team. I'm being honest with you. And it's okay. You know, like when you look at some of the players there, you know, like when you look at Conor Bradley, you know, Endo, 4 seasons in the Premier League, huge club in Liverpool. All right, McAllister's won a World Cup, but you know what I mean, that's fair enough. But then you look at even the likes of Szoboszlai, Elliott, there's loads of them there. Gakpo, you can throw at loads of them with regards to have they been there, have they done it in the Premier League. And I genuinely, when I look at it, I'm caught between not respecting opposition enough, right, or a nervousness. I'm not going with a tiredness thing. I'm just not, because if you're tired, you consolidate your energy in a certain way to play football. Liverpool aren't. Liverpool are going up the pitch disjointed and open, and then, you know, when the team comes back the other way, we're not going that extra yard to shut things down. That's where I think we are now. So that's why I keep coming back to, can we not just go out and be Liverpool? And I think fans at the end of the season go, yeah, we just turn back into Liverpool, and yeah, we got 16 points out of 18, and it just wasn't enough. But I think we'd be all right with that.
I don't know, Gav. And the issue for me here goes back to, there's an element that you have to, every team that's won a league has played a certain way before they've won a league, right? They've gotten close and then they've managed to get over the hill. Very few, with the exception of Leicester, very few just get over the hill and then that's it. You know what I mean? So when I look at this team, to your point, we've completely revamped our midfield. It's a whole new midfield that's there. It's a whole new forward line that's there if you want to take it as a full season in terms of what's going on. And even to the back four, like we more or less have played without Robertson for most of the season and Trent for most of the season. And we've been playing with Kelleher for the last 14 games. I know Alisson was back at the weekend, but we've been playing with him. So it's a team that has very little true title run-in experience, with the exception of Virgil, Mo, and potentially Joe Gomez that's on the pitch on a regular basis. Robbo. But like I'm saying, Robertson is only after coming back. He's only back about 4 games since he was out for a spell on the sideline.
Yeah, he's back a little bit longer than that, but yeah, he had quite a spell on the sideline, yeah.
Yeah, so see, I don't count cup games, so that's just me, you know.
yeah, that's true as well.
But like, so when you step back and look at it, it's like you've got to measure all that in, take that into consideration in terms of what it is, and you look at the lads that we signed, and they aren't coming, say, from title-winning sides with the exception of Gravenberch. Right? He's the only one that's come from a title-winning side, and he wasn't the mainstay of that Bayern side that goes and wins a title. Yeah. You know what I mean? So there's all that bit of that's learning. But look, I think there's been a pressure. Going back to your point, there's been a massive pressure on them because they've been the front runners as such, and they've been the ones that's had to set the pace continually for the last 12 weeks that's there. This is the first time we're going into a weekend or a run of matches where they aren't. They're actually sitting in third with all games played equally. There's no games in hand. There's no nothing, right? So they're back to chasing. It's very different. The level of pressure you're talking about is very different. The league was over. If you look at the obituaries were written, everything was finished. It was done. Hang up the boots. Let's all go on holidays. We've nailed Champions League. We're done, right? There's also a mental freedom that comes with not being at the front and being back to chasing, right? Because you can become more risk averse. It's not risk averse. So you can become a better risk taker.
A bit more open to risk.
Open to taking the chances to go and chase something. Because where are you at the moment? You're not going to win it. So you're chasing the win. So it's very different to when you're trying to hold your position. So you're being a bit more conservative. You just want to get your 1-0s, your 2-0s, get on the board and get yourself to a certain point where the momentum takes over and you start going on. So when I look at it, I'm there going, you know what? Where we stand at the moment in comparison to where we thought we'd be, it's incredible. What can we do throw caution to the wind?
Well, you see, it's interesting.
I go to where I feel I want Klopp to go out with the same ethos that he more or less, when he took over, brought into the team. And that's, look, 6 games. I don't really care. And I'd love us to get to the Europa League final and carry out a miracle in Atlanta, but park that for a minute. 6 league games. Let's just go hell for leather. Let's go press, win the ball back up high, do everything we're having to do. And you know what? If you can't be clinical and you can't do the job for you, I'm going to use Jayden Dance. I'm going to use whoever it is that's going to be on form. And he's got 6 games. I'd even say to him, he's been a very loyal person when it comes to players, but maybe be a little bit more ruthless. If a fella's a little bit out of form, don't be afraid to sit him for half a game or not start him to get that hunger that you need for those last 6 games. Just say, this is it. This is the swan song. This is the last dance. And if we don't get over the line, so what? We lost the league with the defeat to Crystal Palace. That doesn't change. So what have you got to lose? You may as well just throw everything you have at it and see where you go. Because at the end of the season, you're going to have no regrets. The only regret you're going to have is that you didn't take the opportunities. I think the United game is going to come back as one that they'll regret. They mightn't say it openly, but they will regret it because they had more than enough chances to win it. And then it was lapse in concentration, which cost them. And the whole season, to be behind 20 times in a season, to be where we are is outrageous. But we shouldn't be behind 20 times in a season.
You see where I am on it is, right? Like you've said something there interesting, the pressure changes. I think it looked like the pressure was getting to us at United. And then very tentative against Palace until we went behind. And let's be fair, we'll get on to it now in a minute with regards to our finishing. If we put a couple of them chances away, we win the game on Sunday. Right, so with one knocks the other, the sort of like, fuck, we're a bit tentative. Now we're 1 down, and then, and I think it goes back a little bit to, for me, going back to a couple of seasons ago. Remember where if we got a chance, we had to score it because we were conceding at the other end. It was probably last season actually, where forwards were kind of, when they were missing chances, you kind of go, don't worry about it, we get another one in a minute. But it wasn't like that. It was like we have to fucking score because we're fucked at the other end. And I think it's a very fair point you make, because now the only outlook they have is, no, we've nothing to lose, because what we had to lose, we've lost it, which is a lead over Man City, and we're level with Arsenal. Now we're chasing. Now we have nothing to lose. We can't sit around and go, I wonder what will happen to them, or they might get a draw, or they won. We have to just go and do what we're doing. And that's why I keep thinking in my head, I'm not saying to go out and throw 11 fellas forward like fucking Egypt. What I'm saying is go out and say, listen, we're committing to what we're going to do here. Because I don't think there's a commitment to what we're doing. And I think that's what's killing us this season. We look good in large patches of games. We look really good. And in fairness, as much as our people will pull apart Liverpool this season, they're 1 point behind, 2 points behind Manchester City. You know what I mean? And people will go on about Arsenal not having this, and Arsenal will fall away and all. Arsenal have built themselves over the last 4 years to try do this. They lasted about 33 games last season. We're approaching 33 games now, and they're still in it. They're still 2 points behind. They're 2 points behind City as well. So when you look around it, Liverpool are no way out of it. It's just that we happen to be the ones going through that shaky bit. A bit like when Arsenal went through a shaky bit by being beaten at home at West Ham, and you're kind of going, what's going on? But we're doing it at the killer end of it. You know, the sort of way. Now, don't get me wrong. If City were to draw their next 2 games, all of a sudden, what's going on with City? There'd be a lot of questions asked. And I think you can ask questions of any of these teams, really, with regards to why have we got so many injuries? You know, can Arsenal put this away? Are City as good as they used to be? There's a lot of people that have given up on Liverpool winning the league. I won't until it's not possible for us to win the league. But I just think our best chance now is to just get everyone around and go, look, there's 6 fucking league games to go. We're gonna just fucking go for this, right? If we're going forward, everyone's going forward, and we're putting ourselves on the halfway line, and we'll deal with stuff the way we've always fucking dealt with stuff. If we're being pinned back, we'll all walk our bollocks off to get it and get out. You know what I mean? We'll look to get chances, but we probably have to move on to your topic with regards to finishing, because the finishing on Sunday was just fucking like Jesus Christ, you know. And Darwin Núñez has got singled out, which don't get me wrong, I think, you know, it's fair to have a go at him over his finishing on Sunday, but I think it's deeper than that, and I think it's deeper than the forward line. I think it's a whole team thing. I'll always err on the side of blaming a team for losing a game rather than blaming a player, unless the team plays amazingly, puts 10 chances on a fella's head or his foot, and he misses all 10 chances, and you draw the game 0-0. Everyone's kind of done their job except that fella. So yeah, come on, you want to go with the finishing and forwards, don't you?
No, look, I've said this loads of times on here, so it's not like I'm changing my tune or anything like this. The biggest concern I've had for a while now is the signings that we made during the Julian Ward period, which is primarily Diaz and Núñez. Right, we spent a massive amount of money relative to to these 2 lads.
Gakpo.
And they were Gakpo comes. Yeah, no, but again, it's the same thing, Gav. I think they have all got great traits as players, but I think they're missing the magic. That the one thing we did really well before he was there, and when Edwards was managing it, when he put the force squad together, the force Klopp squad together, and that's finishing. And it's so crucial. Like, I look at Núñez, and you can see a very good player, but do I see an elite player? No, right? And he needs too many chances to score a goal. But you can. Here's the conundrum I have. And myself and Steve were talking about it. Yes, Steve, our old pal Steve. I was watching the Atlanta game. I said, Steve, I don't rate Diaz. And he goes, what? I said, here's the issue, right? I think Núñez is a better player than Diaz for all his flicks and tricks and stuff that he does. And I think he'll contribute more. But I said, we can only carry, in a team like ours, where you're reliant on the lads, the 3 fellas up front, don't care where they're playing up there, right? You can have one fella who's not a clinical forward, but you need 2 fellas who are. So you know the way we keep talking about Jota coming back? He's clinical. For the relative amount of games he gets, he scores a lot of goals, right, in terms of what he turns up. And I'm talking about games where he's fit. I'm not talking about where he gets 5 minutes here and it pads out the stats that's there. But then you look at Gakpo, Núñez and Diaz, and all of them are infrequent scorers. They're 1 and 3, 1 and 4 merchants, right? That's not good enough for the type of team, that Klopp needs. He needs those 3 lads, right? You need 2, I'll say, 16 to 20 goal a season men in your 3, and then you can afford to have your 9 to 13, your Firmino, right? This is what we're talking about. We had a Firmino and we had a Mane and a Salah, and then we actually added a Jota, so it meant that we were bulking out those the 3 that are going to score loads of goals for you. Whereas what we've gone the opposite way. We've signed 3 Firminos, and that's not to slate any of them in terms of what I think, but I just think they're infrequent scorers and they're not good enough. And when it comes to this, what becomes frustrating is if you put fellas who aren't naturally clinical on the pitch in the way we have, this is what happens. You get this amalgam of chances being created because of the movement and the play is very good. But the frustration starts to creep in because none of them are good enough to take the chances. And I know you're talking about Salah to me, but if you go back to when we were best and our front line was best, is we were able to manage the drops in players in players' ratings and form, what they did across. Because if Salah dropped, I remember when Salah dropped off, it was about 3 or 4 seasons ago, Mane suddenly went into that run of form after Christmas, and all of a sudden we had, where Salah had been the one scoring all the goals and the assists, Mane then stepped up and was the one that was scoring all the goals and the assists. So you always had somebody to lift. At the moment, if Salah drops off his goals and assists, if they aren't at what we expect it to be at, we've got nobody naturally that's stepping in that tree to lift it up.
I completely get that, right? But my argument against all this is, and I'm not saying Diaz doesn't miss chances, I'm not saying Núñez doesn't miss chances. I think Diaz is being very harshly treated here, by the way. I think Salah's been awful since he's come back from the AFCON / injury, right? I think he's been awful. And the reason being is because I think he's become predictable. And look, I'm not asking anyone, like, as soon as you say something like this, people go, oh, he wants to sell Salah, or he wants to fucking fuck Salah out of the club, or he thinks Salah is finished. I'm not saying that. Players go through fucking bad form, right? But I think he's been awful. I think he's been predictable. He looks a yard off the pace. People are mentioning the Ramadan thing, and I don't know. I don't celebrate Ramadan, or I don't go through it, so I don't know what the effects are, right? I presume there is big effects, because from what I know, you don't eat between, sunrise and sunfall and stuff like that, and that's pretty heavy, in fairness. But he's been poor. I think Diaz is being treated very poorly. I think it's a bit harsh on him. I think he's being the bright spark for us. I think he's being the bright spark. Tommy sees is there, 11 league goals for Núñez is not good enough. He's 31 or 32 goal involvements this season, right? And don't give me all the fuck. I don't want to hear all the, oh yeah, but that's when did he do that? And when are we counting assists? Come here and I fucking tell you, when you're talking about Salah's numbers, everyone talks about the assists and the goal involvements, right? And to be fair, and I'm going to tell you now, there wasn't a single person in this chat 3 weeks ago banging on about Núñez not being good enough, and banging on about Diaz not being good enough, and telling you won't win anything with them. There wasn't a single one, right? There was simply not a single one, right? Maybe you, but that's you. But the thing is, right, it's always reactionary, right? And my reaction to this is poor on Sunday, right? You can have an argument over the Núñez chance at Old Trafford, but I still stand by Diaz should shoot, right? When he plays it to Núñez should possibly not shoot. He should pass it back inside for Szoboszlai, that one near the end, right? He's missed a couple of chances at the weekend. One where he smashes it and the goalkeeper gets in the way of it, and people going, he should bury that. Your man at the other end misses a chance from 6 yards, and everyone's telling you how great the save Alisson was, right? Right? James Stevens says 11 league goals isn't good. Mate, he's fucking creating. I don't know how many assists he has for Salah's 17. Like, honestly, go and check how many assists Núñez has for Salah's 17. Go and check. Because I think at one stage he had 9 assists in the season, and they were all for Salah. Every one of them. It's an all-round game we play, right? But I will hold my hand up and say there's chances that he should have missed, right? I think Diaz has carried the front line a little bit, right? But Diaz carrying a front line won't work because he doesn't score. I think when you have Salah in such poor form where he's not impacting, and he's not impacting, Phil, right? When you have Núñez that can be a bit hit and miss and is missing chances, I think the one they've looked towards to create and get a spark and get a bit of intensity and get a bit of speed into the attack has been Diaz, and I think he has provided. I think he has. I think what's holding on to Diaz at the moment is he scores at Old Trafford, remember? Scores at Old Trafford, right? In that game, right? I think what's holding against Diaz is the chances he misses against Man City. And people will say, oh, Salah would have, or Mane would have buried them. Mane missed loads of chances for Liverpool. Stop rearranging the history here. He's missed loads of chances for Liverpool, right? People miss chances. But what I'm saying is, when it comes down to the forwards, 3 weeks ago, we were going, oh yeah, but he might get 15, and he might get another 10, and he might get this, and Salah's back, and this, and we have a couple of bad results, and all of a sudden he's not good enough, sell him, he misses this, he misses that. James, someone's saying there, did you see James Pearce's thing about the XG? James Pearce never opened his fucking mouth about XG and did Darwin Núñez 3 weeks ago. It's all reactionary. And what happens is, I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying Liverpool are perfect. Their forwards are perfect. But let me tell you something. honestly, 3 league games ago, lads, we were all sitting here going, we go and beat United. We'll go and beat Palace. We've them 3 away games. Their boys are flying. Diaz is doing this. Salah. We are giving it all the big one, right? Because we thought we were doing brilliant, and we were doing brilliant. We're still doing great. When you look at the table, we're still doing really fucking well. But honestly, people coming out with the XG and this and that.
Can I just
opening his mouth 3 weeks ago?
Can I just count? It's not so much counter, right? But just on like. And this is where
Dagsy says Mane scored when we needed it. That's the difference. I promise you, I'll find you games where we needed Mane and he missed loads of chances. There was one in the derby actually. He misses a fucking bagful in one derby in particular.
I think this, and sorry, this is where I think it gets lost a wee bit, right? Since the 1st of January, Salah has only been available for 7 league games. In those 7 games, he scored 5 goals and 2 assists. Now, as a centre forward goes, I'm not sure. And he's not a centre forward. He plays off the right wing. I think that as a return is a benchmark.
Tell me the goals he scored.
2 against Newcastle, 1 against Brentford, 1 against Brighton, 1 against United.
Okay, he gets 1 against United, yeah. The 2 against Newcastle, one of them might be a last minute penalty.
2 against Newcastle.
Gets one. Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
7 games, Phil, 7 games, right, 5 goals, 2 assists.
So okay, right, that's fine.
But you're saying to me he's out of form, right?
Okay.
Now,
but you're telling me Diaz. But hold on a minute. Luis Diaz, who's not good enough, right? He also scores at Old Trafford. What do you think of his performance at Old Trafford? You see, this is the thing. This is the thing where we go, he's doing that. He scored 5 and he's not. I'm watching these games, Phil, right? And Salah might get a goal. But Salah's there to do more than just get a goal. He's there to do more than that. The same way Núñez and Diaz are there to do more than that. And don't get me wrong, they've missed chances. They've missed chances. There's no doubt about that. But you can't just sit and go, sell him, he's no good, and listen to James fucking Pearce with XG. No, give me a fucking
Just hang on a sec. Just hang on a sec, right? You're telling me that Salah is appalling and he's out of form, right? In the same period, just hang on, Gav. And you're telling me that Diaz is carrying the team, right?
I think Diaz has been our best attacker,
I'm just putting this straight, right? So in a period where I'll say, I don't think Salah's looked at the races and he's definitely not. He's managed to do 5 and 2. Diaz, who's carrying the team and you think has been the one that's been leading it, has got 5 and 3.
Yeah.
All I'm saying to you is it's perception.
What I'm saying to you,
as far as I'm concerned,
but it is perception.
That's not good enough.
But what I'm saying is perception. There's 2 types of perception. One, what you see in stats, and someone else says there, like, honestly, what the fuck he is reading, right? He's missed 40 big chances this season. Define a big chance me. So what's happened here is that since Sunday, everyone's come out with the XG and the big chances he scored and the big chances he's missed. You just weren't opening his mouth 3 weeks ago. Nobody 3 weeks ago turned and said, we won't win this league because he's missed 40 big chances this season. Nobody. And let me tell you something. When you're talking about Núñez's chance at the weekend, Jota misses a tap-in. Salah misses a fucking tap-in. Curtis Jones misses a one-on-one chance. Right? There's 3 that are equally as bad as Darwin Núñez at the weekend. But nobody's fucking telling you. Give me the stats on Jones' shots. Get me the stats on Jota's shots. Listen, I'm not telling you that they shouldn't have more goals. But don't roll into me 3 weeks after thinking you can win everything and praising these fellas to high heavens, and 2 games later you're writing them off and you want every stat under the fucking sun, because that is utter bullshit. Like, honestly, they're throwing that stuff out there for people to read and react to, and I'm not having it. And don't get me wrong, we get to the end of the season, we don't win the league, you can absolutely point to this or that or the other. But at the end of the day, Luis Diaz and Mo Salah score at Old Trafford, right? And we're going on about Darwin Núñez's chance, but we're not opening our mouth about the other end of the fucking pitch and fellas making mistakes down there.
But here's the thing.
Because it doesn't sell, Phil. It doesn't sell.
No, I know, Gav, but ultimately, when you're making 26, 27 chances a game and you're losing a match 1-0, right? Yeah. Let's be straight about this. You're going to look at, well, where was the key issue? If you concede 1, that's fine, and you only make 2 or 3 chances in the game, you can't afford to do it. The problem we have at the moment is that we're making so many chances. When people are watching these matches, we're seeing so many chances missed. There is a blank spot to what's going on behind, because we're making so many chances. We should be scoring. If we take 40% of the chances that are put, if you take less than 1 and 2 chances that are put there, you'd be scoring on average 3 goals a game.
But Phil, we're offering up chances on a plate as well.
No, Gav, I get that. I get that.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm not disagreeing.
Phil, come here and I tell you. If Darwin Núñez had scored and Curtis Jones had scored and Salah had scored at the weekend, right? Mm-hmm. But I forget the fella's Mateta. If Mateta scores, right, the 2 chances he has, we walk off there with a 3-3 draw. Nobody's talking about the missed chances or giving you the XG and the big chance. A big chance. How do you define a big fucking chance? And I'm telling you, they've made it up because it's the same with the XG that they make up, which is absolutely nonsense. But I'm telling you, if we walk out there with a 3-3 draw, we're not talking about those missed chances. We're talking about the defence, and that needs to be talked about as well. All I'm saying is that 2 bad results and people are coming out with all this and all that and everything else, and it's over and we can't do anything, and sell this fella and sell that and it's all fucking, it's fucking all gone to fuck, and there's no getting back from this. That's all I'm saying.
But my point here is, if we want to be the team that we were, right, then the Diaz, Núñez, Gakpo combination, and when I say combination, I'm talking about the type of players they are, won't be good enough. And you can mark it, bookmark it, star it, replay it, cut it, whatever way you want to do it, because we need 2. We need 2, even 2 Salahs now, which I call him 80% Salah. I don't call him 100% Salah. He's not the Salah that was the best player in the world 2 years ago, right? But that's just age. It just is what it is. And like, to think this fella has also played the 3rd most minutes despite missing, I think it's 6 or 7 games already this season in terms of from injury, right? So he's played the 3rd most minutes of all the players that we have. And he's one of the older players in the squad. When I look at it, I'm going, we need another one of him. And I'm not saying we need the style. I'm just saying his productivity, right? So now there's an opportunity. But again, the flip side is we don't know what the new manager is going to play like and what his style is and how he wants to manage players. But he does need, if he's playing 2 or 3 or a deep line or whatever, he needs at least 2 of his forwards banging 20 goals a season, right? And then you need somebody else chipping in with.
We're never getting 20 goals out of Luis Diaz the way he's asked to play in this team.
I don't think you'll ever get 20 goals out of Luis Diaz full stop. I think Diaz.
I think you would if you let him do what they let Matt. I think you would, because the funny thing is, right? People compare Luis Diaz to Sadio Mane, and they played completely different games. I'm telling you, Phil.
Diaz is not in Man.
I'm not saying he's a killer. He's a killer finisher. But I'm telling you now, Phil. Right? If you get more goals out of Luis Diaz. Fact.
You wouldn't.
Phil,
he's just not a finisher. Gav, he's just not a finisher.
You watch him for Colombia, Phil. The amount of times he gets in centrally.
Don't insult me by saying international football.
No, what I'm saying is, what do Colombia do with him? Colombia encourage him to be central, right, when they're attacking. They encourage him. Now, he plays out wide, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, when you watch Luis Diaz, he spends a massive amount of time hugging the touchline and trying to commit defenders. Mane went from that on the right hand side, ironically, and then when he went to the left because Salah arrived, he went from that, and he constantly moving back centrally. He ends his Liverpool career playing as a centre forward for the last dozen games. So comparing Diaz, and I'm not, listen, Diaz should probably I have to keep caveating this way. Diaz should have more goals. Núñez should have more goals, right? But comparing Diaz to Mane is off the chain. It's mad. It's fucking mad. It's like comparing John Barnes' goals to Ian Rush.
No, Gav. My point is, we don't need a Diaz. You can either have a Diaz or a Núñez. You can take whatever.
But the way he's playing, Phil, he obviously feels like he needs a Diaz.
Listen to me. Whatever brand of cheese you like, right? It makes no difference. It's cheese, right? But in this team, you can only afford to have one cheese. You can't have all the cheeses. You have to either have a Wensleydale or a cheddar or a blue cheese, right? But if everything is cheese, then there's no crackers. And we need 2 crackers, because you need to make a sandwich with the cheese, right? So what you've got to do here is you've got to basically decide, right? Who is it? Who is the non-goal scoring forward I want? Is it Diaz? Is it Nunes? Is it Gakpo, right? Because I can live with one of them. And in my mind, I'm going to be straight with you. Here's where I see Luis. Luis Diaz, to me, is Juan Cuadrado. That's what he is. That's who he is as a footballer. He looks like he's going to do amazing things, but never quite. He's like Diet Salah, right? Looks like he's amazing and looks like he's going to do amazing things, but doesn't have the same killer instinct. Whereas I would now, and this is straight up, I would put my eggs in the Nunes basket. I think the fella, if they could just give him a Valium before the games, right? I think he'd score 35 to 40 goals a season. Because he just needs composure.
And people will say to you, you can't teach that into people, and you can't. That's all horseshit. You can teach anyone to fucking do anything. You know what I mean? Like I've a fucking banjo under the stairs there, and I don't know one end of from the other. But if you give me 6 weeks, I'll play the fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? Samuel with a super chat says we need another Jota who can play a full season. Yeah, look, it's not perfect. My whole point behind this is that there's imperfections on this side. We knew that from the start of the season. We knew, is he a good defender? Has he got enough experience? He's a new signing. Does he score enough goals? We knew all this. My whole point behind this is that people fucking losing the plot, right? When 3 and 4 weeks ago, we were all fucking flying high and we can do it and we can score, and we are pointing out how good was Kanate in that game. Bradley is brilliant. Robinson's back. Trent will be back. Jota, John. We're mentioning the forwards that they're flying, they're doing this, that. And now 2 games. All it takes is 2 games. Well, 3 if you count Atlanta, right? And United, Atalanta and Palace. It's a really poor week. It's a really, really poor week throughout the team. And I include the manager in that. I include the staff, the fucking players from front to back. Actually, I don't blame the goalkeepers. I think they've been absolutely fine. But people just, all of a sudden now, it has to be like this big drastic thing. Like, we're
Darren,
not going to sell Darwin Nunes.
Hang on, Darren, you just don't get it, right? Diaz is brilliant, just not finishing. That's the point. You've made my point for me, right? Diaz looks great, but has no real end product over the course of a season. To Gav's point, he might have scored his few goals, but Kanchelskis used to get 5 to 9 goals a season, right? This is what we're dealing with. The fellas that we've gotten used to. So I think Antiochi Chilio, whatever is his thing he has that I can never remember what it is, right? It's Antiochil right. So the thing is here, he says we have to go back to the Minaminos and the Rodriguez. We didn't, because we had Mane, Salah, Firmino, Jota. You can carry 4 strikers in a 3-man attack. You can carry 5, right? We've got some really good young fellas as well to make up. And by the way, I'd fancy Divock Origi to score more goals in this team. And here's the problem with Origi was, the things that they're being praised for their work rate. The problem with Origi for me, and I think this is what killed him as a Klopp player, was his defensive side was almost non-existent, right? So he used to be brilliant. When the ball was going the way he wanted it to go, we all knew that Origi was always in the mix and he's always going to get himself into the goals. But once it goes the opposite way, he wasn't. Whereas you can see with Diaz and Nunes, he wants to, both of them work hard. They work so hard to fit in with the team, walk back, track back, win the ball back, do all that type of stuff. But I would...
Well, is it a case then of one of those up in their game? And I think it's probably Nunes, right? Because I never doubt Nunes' work rate. He terrifies defences with his pace. His all-round game has come on leaps and bounds for me. As a Liverpool fan watching him, I think his all-round game has come on leaps and bounds. I think his finishing has improved this season, but there's been some big misses, right? That you'll always miss chances. Andy Cole used to miss fucking bag loads of them, right? But scored as well, right? But he was in a team that was creating fucking shitloads and winning league after league, right? But when I look at Nunes, like, I just see so much potential in Phil, right? I think along the ground, early, his strength, speed, he's not afraid of anyone. There is times where he snatches at stuff. There is times where he makes the wrong decision. And sometimes we win games and you go, fucking hell. Remember that? Remember the one where he rounded the keeper and hit the post but we won about 7-0, right? But whatever it was, I can't remember what game it was, but I think we won fucking mad 3-0 or 4-0, I think it was. But then you see the following, the next game he just buries one in the top corner away at Bournemouth, or takes 2 chances at Newcastle, or buries one in the top corner in the Europa League. Like, there's loads in him there. Do you know what I mean? And is it a case of, if you get Núñez, say from, he's 30 whatever goal involvements, right? Across, I don't know how many goals there is and assists across all competitions. But if you said to me at the end of this season, say Núñez gets another 3 goals now, right? And gets close to 40 goal involvements. But if you said to me, he's going to get 40 goal involvements next season, but that's going to be 29 goals and 12 assists, and switches it, does it immediately make Diaz look better? Because, not that it makes him look better, but it takes the pressure off the fella that's being asked to play the widest of the 3, because there's someone down the middle absolutely banging them, and Jota will bang them and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't, and Phil, it's not me being overprotective or over loyal. When I see a player, but it's not Phil, because when I see a player, and I like take Naby Keita for argument's sake, right? I think Naby Keita, when he arrived at Liverpool, had all the tools to be a fantastic footballer at Liverpool. It didn't work. I stood by him for a long time going, he's really good when he's on the pitch, lads. But then he just wasn't on the pitch, right? And it was all going on, and whatever was going on, and he's back in the news this week and stuff like that. And you just have to admit defeat. But I just think, I wasn't hearing any of this. And you will have people going, yeah, but Núñez could have fucking 10 more goals this season. That's fine. But you weren't getting people going, no, we're not going to win the league with him playing with us. You weren't getting it, and now you are. And I don't go down that route, Phil. Don't get me wrong. We could go into next season and, Núñez could get fucking 15 league goals and miss fucking 5 big chances. That could cost you 5 games, and you go, you know what? It's happened again. We probably need someone that gets 17 goals but doesn't cost us 3 games. The sort of way. And I don't like writing players off when the whole team has have a bad week. I could point as the chances, we're making them, we're missing them. A variety of players missed them over the last week. And defensively, you could blame anyone in the team for the goals, because we defend from the front. We press from the front. We press down the sides. We help people back. Salah, Núñez, Diaz, they'll all run back, and they might lose someone, and we might concede a goal. I'd rather us look at it as a team and go, that's been a fucking terrible week, but we're 2 points behind, and let's reassess it in the summer. Because let's be honest about it, you might love Núñez and he could get sold in the summer. You might hate Núñez and he might stay. But then again, you might fucking love Cody Gakpo, but he's not in the plans. You might hate Cody Gakpo, but the new manager loves him. We don't know what's going to happen, so I just don't want us to be too rash in making these big statements about fucking players off the back of a bad week.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but I'll say to you, right, and it's not to presumpte who will be potential managers and stuff like that, right? But the likelihood is, if the fella who's the favourite to get the job gets the job, he's playing with 3 centre forwards. If he doesn't have a markedly, massively different viewpoint on how football is played, right? And all 3 are going to have to score goals, because that's what they do at the moment, right? So I would rather put my odds on the fellas that I think have the goals in them, even if it's 1 and 3, right? And you can get him to 1 and 2. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking a massive jump. I'm just talking taking 1 and 2 chances over a fella who's 1 and 4 and at best might get to 1 and 3.5. Do you know the way? Like, I'd rather bank in it, because you don't need to be technically the most beautiful player in the eye if you're the most effective player. And like, Mane was not the most beautiful player in the eye. He was a powerhouse. He was a powerhouse, and we let Firmino do all the mad trickery that was on the inside of what's going on. There is an argument that should we really not look to swap the 2 of them around and play Diaz as a false 9? If we wanted to go back to, say, like an old view,
and they have actually thrown him in there at times this season. They done it in pre-season, I think it was, and then he came on in a couple of games when he was coming back. When he actually came back after the time he had off because of the stuff going on with his dad, and he seemed to be going down the middle. Even when he come on, where he'd be going out left, and he was stuck down the middle. And maybe that is something, because and I know you don't like international football, but whenever I see Diaz playing international football, right, it's like they tell him, you just make sure you're in the box, because he's actually quite good in the air. He's not the biggest bloke in the world, quite good in the air, and can finish. He was very unlucky at the weekend, actually. He gets to a ball in the first half and manages to kind of half scissor kick it down into the ground and how the fuck it hits the keeper and goes up over the bar. It was a brilliant effort. Do you know the sort of way? All I'm saying is that, look, we've had a bad week, but just suck it up, for fuck's sake. And I don't mean to be like talking down to people. I don't mean to be talking down. I don't want to come across as that. But like, just sit down and look at the league table and go, yeah, the cheating fuckers are 2 points clear, right? All right, that's usually the way it goes, right? But we're still in it. And I know it's been a bad week. I know we've 6 games left. We might win all 6. We might win none of them. But I just want people to, I suppose behind it all, I don't want to take, and people are saying Klopp will go out with a whimper and Klopp will go out with that. He won't. He won't. Regardless of what happens, he goes out as, I still think, the best manager since Paisley at Liverpool Football Club. And he will go out as that no matter what. So I don't want us to spend our time. That's why I didn't want to spend our time on fucking trivial things. You know what I mean? Yep. And I find the new manager thing trivial. I find it trivial.
Until you get to the point where, and I'll be straight with you, as soon as it's mathematically impossible for us to win the league, that becomes my focus. Because at that point, the season's over.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think if we're mathematically out of the league, right, which I don't think we will, I'm hoping we'll go right to the death. But I don't think to get us mathematically out of the league, it'd probably come down to the last 2 games, maybe, I'd say, right? If it was to go a certain way. And that's okay then, you know. But for me, I'm not saying I'm not interested in the next, and we keep doing this every week, me and you talk about this, but I'm not saying I'm not interested in it, but it's just not my interest at the moment. You know, it's a bit like I like NFL, right? But I'm not going to watch it now because I don't be watching reruns of it. But when it comes back on, I'll watch it. Do you know that sort of way?
Well, you're missing out there. It's draft time.
Well, I don't know. The only draft I know is one that comes under the door and makes.
I was gonna have that as a topic tonight, just to change things. Wouldn't it be great if and this is where people go mad about European Super Leagues, but if we did a European Super League, right, and we accepted that here's the top 40 clubs in Europe, right, and those clubs get to pick the best talent across Europe, right, in a 7-round draft, right? Imagine the excitement television would have if you had all these teams picking in order as part of the European Super League the best talent from each of these countries and stuff like that. And you know, the worst team getting the best player and all. Imagine that's equity of. But
that's just not how football. That's not how.
There's no reason we couldn't.
There's loads of reasons.
If UEFA hadn't pretended to be the good boys and all this, we could have had all this type of stuff. No relegation could have meant the draft. The draft would have been brilliant. Best television, and it would have been an equity of talent, and we'd be in a different stage altogether with the world, and the world would be a great place. There wouldn't be all the madness that's going on. Anyway, quickly, Gav, we've got 2 topics to cover off. I want to get on to one. Anyone but City. My thing here is, right, I'd like anyone but City to win the league, to be totally honest with you, right? The problem I have with now, but I struggle with Arsenal winning the league because I hate Arteta, right? I don't mind. People get annoyed with Arsenal fans and all that type of stuff. I've actually got a lot of Arsenal mates, and the vast majority, a bit like Liverpool fans, I ignore the online fan base, right? A bit like the Liverpool fans. Any real person is actually probably fairly dead sound. You have a good conversation with them and they're not mad, right? But I can't stand Arteta. And them losing at the weekend was a classic example of where I was starting to think to myself, do you know what? He's got over his galaxy brain head, but he hadn't, because he went full galaxy brain against Villa. Right at the most important juncture of this whole season, he went full galaxy brain against them. Do you know that way? Yeah. He's utterly unlikable. He's unlikable. Right, he's just unlikable. Right, and that's the problem I have.
Yeah, I think I'm anyone but C as well. And I have been for God knows how long. You know, I even said it when I think United finished second one season, and I said I'd rather United win a title. And I've said it, I've gone on record, I'd rather Manchester United win a title than Manchester City, right? Because there's loads of reasons, right? Over 100. But my problem here is that I am anyone but City, but then when I start thinking of other clubs, I think to myself, yeah, but look at them, they're absolute cunts as well. And maybe it's just me getting old and belligerent, but when I look at Arsenal, a couple of things. I think Arteta's an absolute prick of the highest order, right? I think he's so far up his own arse. I think he's literally he's taken someone else's manual and just brought it to North London and sat down and studied that manual to within an inch of its life. And he's trying his best to implement that manual, and it's just not working, right? They could still go on and win the title, right? They could go on and win the title. But
I used to think that, but I've changed my opinion on him in terms of what he's learned. I style has changed.
I think his style changes when he comes under pressure, you see, right? And I think his style changed the weekend under pressure, and that was
that's the Galaxy brain.
Remember, that's Arsenal's first 3 games in a week, I think, for a while, right? And I don't mean that by you might have had a midweek league game somewhere. I mean league, big European game, league, right? And I can't fucking stand him, right? Because I think he's a spoofer. I think he's a spoofer. I genuinely think he's a spoofer. And I tell you, if they don't win the title and they get knocked out of Europe in this quarter-final or semi-final, I think he's under fucking massive pressure in his job. Massive, massive pressure. And that's the first reason. The second reason is, unfortunately, the business I'm in, you do see the online stuff. And honestly, the online Arsenal fan base is fucking insane. And I mean insane. And I'm not saying the Liverpool online fan base isn't fucking insane. You know what I mean? They are. But the Arsenal ones are on a different level. Like, you know what I mean? They haven't won anything of note for me in 20 years. Right? They haven't won anything of note. The FA Cup is a competition. But honestly, if you're not winning League, European Cup, World Club Cups, you Super Cups, you know what I mean? You're winning domestic trophies. They haven't won a tap in 20 years, right? And they're carrying on as if this is they've literally transported the Harlem Globetrotters into North London. And that would make me, you see, a lot of people would say then, just let City win it, because when they get proven to be fucking absolute fucking cheats, and over this 7-year period and 115 charges, though that period will be taken off them, and everything after will have an asterisk beside it. You know, not officially, but every football fan will know. It's, you know, you only got these because of what you've done in this period. And a lot of people will think, just let them fucking win it, because no one gives a bollocks, really. You know, that sort of way. But if you were to ask me, I'd still want Arsenal over City. I'd still edge a spoofer and some absolute weirdos over them, over cheating.
And that's where I lie. It's like with the City thing, you know, they've been led away with whatever they want to do with England. For any team that's not them to win the league, I think should be cherished, enjoyed, because only that way can football truly redeem itself. The Premier League have no intention of punishing City for any indiscretions they have, and it's quite clear at this stage they can make up the pretend hearings and stuff like that. That's never going to happen, and even when they do, nothing will happen off the back end of it. So from that reason, the only way you can put cheats to bed is by beating them on the pitch as best you possibly can. And between everything else that's going on, if it's not us, then I'd rather Arsenal, despite all the other issues that come with the type of fans that are online and with Arteta's head and everything that's going on. I'd still rather a football team that's more or less being built in a similar fashion to ourselves. When I say that in terms of how they've spent, how they've developed it, brought through young talent, etc., around it, right? Than, you know, some fella who's been done for doping and all the various different things as a footballer, who has never taken on a real challenge in his football career when it comes to doing anything, and has spent billions to basically just sports wash his way to the top of the sport. So yeah, I'd far prefer to see that happen than anything else. And that to me is what
isn't the gas, because if City win it, I'll walk away at the end of the season going, I don't really care. That won't even impact me. Yeah, right? But if Arsenal win it, although I'd want them more to win City, it's definitely going to impact you more, because you have to listen to fucking weirdos. Do you know what I mean? Like, and don't get me wrong.
I'll actually say...
I have loads of time. And there's Arsenal fans that listen to this channel and they watch it and they're on most nights. And I've no issue with them, because they're genuine. They tell you as it is. They're nice, they're honest. And they go and celebrate their win. But honestly, I'd say there's a huge number of Arsenal fans that if they won a title, they would spend the following days telling you about Liverpool. Do you know what I mean?
But Gav, that's the Spider-Man gif. The two of us are the two online fan bases are standing there pointing the fingers going, look at him, right?
Yeah.
Because the Liverpool fan base online is as toxic. Look at the yokes that are out there. It's horrific. Everyone that comes out now trying to be a goal.
It's mental. And even on my social media now, like on the podcast social media, there's loads, there's fucking I don't know how many people. But on my own social media, I've actually locked my social media, so people can't just follow me just for the sake of it. And that's not me being big-headed. It's just I have a select group of Liverpool fans and fans of other clubs that I follow, and they follow me. And I like it like that, because you know what you're going to get. You're going to get decent conversation with a bit of laugh thrown in, and you're not going to get absolute nonsense, sort of way. And I'd suggest people do that, because you can actually control what you see, which is very important. Listen, can we finish off with
I think we need to talk about mad people online and mad fan bases online and taking it to the ultimate degree. You want to talk about Matt Le Tissier's podcast?
It was fucking brilliant. It wasn't his podcast, I don't think. So I woke up this morning. Right?
Was he on a podcast?
He was a guest on a podcast, right?
Right.
So as you know, Phil, I work till the early hours of the morning, most mornings, right? So it's usually about 2:00 in the morning I go to bed. And I'm usually back up at about 8, right? Up, get the kids ready, off to school, do a bit of work, blah, blah, blah. Woke up this morning, and one of the first things I seen was Matt Le Tissier's fucking noggin on my WhatsApp group, in one of the WhatsApp groups. I was like, oh, what's going on? And I thought it was the clip of I thought it was going to be a clip of Matt Le Tissier after he's done the tweet last week of saying, well, during the lockdown, it was gorgeous out. And then when the lockdown stopped, sure, it started raining again. What's all that about? Coincidence, right? All this sort of stuff. I was like seriously, it's up there with fucking, they created COVID so they could distract us and put up 5G masts, right? Mad scene, right? Or I don't know, fucking quadruple the price of bread because everyone goes for bread in moments of fucking
of panic,
worry, of panic. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be this, right? But it happens to be that the tables are being turned, and it's kind of like you've made your bed, you can lie in it, Matt, right? Because what happens is he comes out with all this, and he ends up as a guest on this podcast. Couldn't even tell the name of it. But basically, the clip is about 1 minute and 6 seconds long, right? And this fella goes, now listen, I have my own theory on this. Johan Cruyff, right? I don't think he's dead, right? I think he's in witness protection. Now, that might upset a lot of people, or, and this is the best line I've ever heard, or may bring some hope to people. But I think he's in witness protection. I think he will come back and reveal some truths at some stage, right? Which was fucking incredible, right? And then, right, to top it off, right? Now, Matt Le Tissier, all you can hear is your man's voice, and Matt Le Tissier sitting there going, and you can nearly see his brain going, I fully fucking deserve this, right? I absolutely fully deserve to be sitting with this lunatic. And then your man goes, right, now I'm ad-libbing a bit, but your man basically goes, yeah, there's a few more I have theories on. Like, if you think about it, 2476, 5th of November, Princess Diana, right? But listen, we don't have time to get into that. We've gone through a lot of mad stuff today. Thanks a lot to Matt. And Matt Tissier is sitting there going, oh, what the fuck? But he clearly, I'll have to send it on to you, because it is one of the best things I have ever seen. Like, Matt Le Tissier genuinely is sitting there going, like, I'm actually listening to this, and this is the show I come out with. It was fucking amazing. It was amazing.
It like self-realization when it was just like...
It was like,
is this who I am?
He was sitting there clearly going, this fella is fucking bananas. But
is it the moment of Mitchell and Webb where the two of them are dressed up as Nazis?
It's like he's sitting there. It's like he's sitting there, right? It's like he's sitting there, and he's sitting there going, this fella is bananas. But at the same time thinking, but if someone typed that online and put my name beside it, the vast majority of the planet will think I actually said it. Will be very, very confident I said it. And it's just, but it was just so good. And the cry thing, but the way your man follows it up with, he just says 4 random numbers like he's reading out the local fucking GA lotto, right? He just kind of goes, 2477, 5th of November. Princess Diana. It was fucking deadly. That adds up to Princess Diana. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? So, it was absolutely insanely good.
Would he be worth getting on this just to see, have you any other random numbers? Just cut out a random number there, will you?
Do you know what he reminded me of? Do you remember? And this is another Irish thing, and I really need to stop doing it. But do you remember your man that used to win the lotto and used to go, and our independent adjudicator tonight is such and such from such and Crowley.
Yeah, Stoke Skendy Crowley. Yeah.
And there's a little outfit there, little balding outfit standing there going, he just nodded at the screen every week. And you imagine telling your mate, right? Every Saturday night, we can't do anything on a Saturday or a Wednesday because I have to go down to RTA and stand beside the lotto machine for 5 minutes and then I'll be home. It was mad. I'd say they always had to have the dinner somewhere near RTA on a Saturday.
But you'd know if you were lying because you weren't there. You weren't there last night.
Yeah.
I checked the television. You weren't there. Where were you? I was in doing the lotto. No, you weren't.
Unbelievable. No, you weren't. What was his name? I can't remember his name, but he was from that fucking.
He did as the years went on, he did start to wave at the screen.
Oh yeah, he got artistic license then.
Yeah, because initially he used to just do.
Yeah, he didn't move. He just stood there. Just like yeah.
And then after a few years we got the.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then towards the end, before he was replaced, he was like smiling. I'm on television. Hi.
Yeah. Hey man. But
I've been here for 10 years. I better prove I'm not a liar.
I don't know how I've done a tangent onto the fella that used to do the lotto. Didn't even do the lotto. He just stood beside the machine of a Wednesday and Saturday in RTA, in the station.
Stand there.
But honestly, Phil, I'll send you this clip. Right, it's just bananas. What your man is saying on Cruyff is brilliant. What he says on Princess Diana is mad. But when you couple that with he's off screen, so you're just looking at Tissier reacting to this and his brain absolutely folding out in front of you because you know what he's thinking. It's absolutely brilliant.
It is immense that people who were respected and public figures can end up going down to these lengths. Like Tissier is the new David Icke, right? Because everyone forgets about David. Before we had conspiracy, remember David Icke would believe the lizard people were controlling the earth from the moon.
I don't need him in my life.
And he believed he was also the second coming of Jesus Christ to spread the word to the world, to prevent them from being attacked by the lizard people who lived both under the ground and on the moon, that were controlling the earth through a cabal that existed in the what's that place they all go to, the rich people go to, and the Bilderbergs. They will go to the Bilderbergs. David Icke was here to save us from all these people, and he was going to lead us to the next thing. Now, all he was short of doing was starting to build a spaceship out his back garden and get everyone to come and live in the commune with him, right? So it's so Matt Le Tissier is close.
It was just
to that level.
Matt, and you know what the gas thing is, right? When you see this Carry On album, and you think back to the time when he done the interview going, and Sky got rid of me. Do you know what I mean? It must be bad if Sky are getting rid of you. Like, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to let me see. This is class. This reminds me of a mate who's gone down the rabbit hole. Yeah, honestly, me and Phil could go down rabbit holes all fucking day.
Literally could. And I remember going back to the days with me and Trev, before we even start the podcast, we talk of many different conspiracy theories, because he was mad at the conspiracy theories, and he always like, "Come on, let's do something." I have
a friend that loves the conspiracy theory. Like,
I don't mind reading about
plane-shaped rockets and all. 9/11 and and then switching boats and all.
Switching boats.
The Titanic was,
and the Olympic and the Titanic was switched and then the Titanic continued on for the next 40 years as the Titanic, because it was the Olympic that sank on the way to New York and not the Titanic.
There you go.
Won't say anything. Won't name any names. All I'll say is it rhymes with Talkin Kop. Right, that's all I'm saying.
Anyway, before we go, the fundraiser.
When a person that says, I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but it's like that but whenever anybody puts that but into a sentence,
we used to send the wrong way. Was it Talkin Kop we used to send the
Talkin Kop
the pictures of the Pentagon to? Yeah, that was amazing.
He told me. Do you remember the time he told me that you can't find the Pentagon on Google Maps?
Yeah, that was fantastic. One of my favourite ever. One of my favourite ever times, though, going on, not conspiracy theories, but one of my favourite ever times was there was a discussion about distance in a WhatsApp group, right? And somebody just measured from one country to the other, right, in a straight line, and went, look, it's clearly more east of that city. And people are like, the world is fucking round, you lunatic. It's not a straight line to it. Oh my God, it was unbelievable. Who built the pyramids, Gav? Well, it's clearly, according to some people I know, it was built with, years ago, it was built with people with cranes and transivans and dump trucks, and then the world forgot what it was doing and just went back to like stupid civilization, and then just built itself back up. But there you go. Conspiracy pods in the off seasons is the most. We'll try that. Yeah, we'll see. Paul says, sorry, Paul asked a question here, and I'm going to answer it. Right. He says, Gav, just to change the subject slightly, but how's Davo getting on now? It would be great to see him back on soon. I was speaking to Davo today. As good as he can, I think is probably the way to put it. He's just such a lovely fucking fella, Davo is. You won't meet a nicer fella than him. I'm not going to push him to come onto this podcast. Davo knows, and this is me being flippant, by the way. Davo knows that if he ever wants to turn up on this podcast, if he tells me he wants to do a podcast at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning about fucking the price of bananas, I'll get on at 7 o'clock in the morning and do a podcast about the price of bananas. So he knows what we're there. He knows he can come back whenever he likes. But I am not going to go on to Davo and say, what's the story? Hey, come back on. Not a fucking hope. But listen, we're always on to him. We're always talking to him. He's in a couple of our WhatsApp groups. He's as good as he can be. And Paul, I appreciate you asking about him. Because you want me a nicer fella than Davo. And I'm sure he will be back on soon. But when Davo's ready, he'll be back on.
Yeah, and if you could sort out my AliExpress stuff, that would be fantastic. Because I know it's somewhere.
Is Davo acting the prick with the post again?
I think he is. Yeah, I think he's seen what it was, and he wants to keep it for himself. So I'm gonna have words.
Yeah, just a big pile of Phil Casey here up and on post, and Davo going, nobody touched that.
Don't touch that. That lunatic will be out
of the bollocks area. Anyway, the two fundraisers are in the description. The one for us for fan support and field banks, and for the Lighthouse. We have gone past the 2,000 mark, so we have sent 1,000 of each onto both of those organisations. The one for Phil is in there for the Laura Lynn Hospice. So, as I always say, if you have a fiver, give 250 to each of us. If you have a tenner, give a fiver to each of us. And if you can't donate, fine. Look, times are hard. Please take the links, send them on. And when you tell people, I think when you tell and explain to people what they're for, they might donate. We're trying to get the 10,000 for us. We're trying to get the 5,000 for Phil. We won't stop till we get there. You know how it works, and the links are in the description.
And I'm awful at this stuff. I'll go straight with this. I'm awful at plugging stuff and things, and I'll be talking to Steve-O and Gav in terms of what do you think of this, what do you think of that, because I'm just the days of me being a social media person are long and well and truly over at this point in time. So I'm just doing my best to try raise whatever I can. Hopefully get to the 5. Hopefully we get to the 10. And
no, you won't. No, there's no hopefully about it. That's not how we work. It goes to the 5 and it goes to the 10. And if that takes a year from now or 2 years from now, we just keep going till we get it. We're promising the Laura Lynn Hospice $5,000. I am right now. And we're promising $5,000 to foreign support and fuel banks, and we're promising $5,000 to the Lighthouse. And I don't care how long it takes. I really don't. And the way I always say to people, if you can donate, brilliant, but share it, because what happens is, it means then, and I don't mean this to be bad, but it means we can get them charities done and out of the way. Not that we want them out, we do want them out of the way, because that means they get a load of money. And that means that we can move on to something else. That could be, a hospice, a sick child, I don't know what it could be. It could be anything. And it means we can move on to our next one, because let's be honest, we don't do a show without a charity link in it. That's it.
No, and look, at the end of the day, if we can give something back, Gav, as you said before, being able to give something back and do stuff like this and raise stuff, because it doesn't take anything extra to do what we're doing in terms of what it is, then that's the order of the day. Isn't it better to be able to do that and feel like, okay, well, at least something genuine and positive happened as a result of us talking about Darwin Núñez or Luis Diaz or whatever it is across the course of the night, because those few quid that go there are worth more than any of the words that we put down on a nightly basis, and that genuinely, that's what it means so much to us, right?
Yeah, we're just dickheads talking about football, but if we can help charities while we're doing it, why not? You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. If we were just dickheads playing replays of the Angelus and making money, we'd just do that as well. Do you know what I mean? But we're not. You've just stared to the corner. But we're not. We're just dickheads talking about Liverpool. And but we try our best to make money for charity and give it to, so many deserving people and stuff like that. So the last thing, football prizes have a new prize out at the minute. There's about 5 days left in it. It is a signed and framed, custom framed Alisson Becker jersey with loads of other stuff to go. Oh. And I only got the notifications this today, so I'm not 100% up to speed. But let me read it out to you, so I'll do it justice. Just give me 1 second now. I know this is not great podcasting. So here we go. Alisson Becker, signed and custom LED framed Liverpool goalkeeper shirt, plus 15 instant prizes as well. The 15 instant prizes include an additional signed memorabilia from Alisson Becker, Jersey Dudek, Sander Westerveld, $3.95 a ticket. It does close in 5 days, so get in there. The link is in the description from Football Prizes, and that's a belter, actually, the Alisson Becker one. So that's it. Phil, anything else before we go? We've run way over time.
We've an event coming up as well that Steve was meant to be organising. But if people in the chat live in Dublin or live locally, they may want to come along to it.
What is it?
I can't give you the details because Steve was working on it at the moment.
It's an event, is it?
Yep.
Do I have to go?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
You'll enjoy it. You'll have a bit of fun. Have a bit of crack.
Well, you can tell me after this. Okay, right, cool.
Well, all right.
So if you want to go to Phil's event that he's not refusing to tell you anything about, let us know. Anyhow, we'll sort it.
I'll tell you what, I have the
if
details.
It's not meeting up in UCD with fake cameras pretending to present you a world record for cycling 77.
I told you 71.648 kilometres at one stage was a world record.
Absolutely brilliant.
But that's the crack. Listen, that's been the podcast. That's been my last podcast as a 46-year-old. So next time I see you, I'll be a year older, right? So that's all I'm saying.
47, like.
Yeah, 47, yeah. Man, I feel old. I'm starting to feel really old. But what doesn't help is people not being able to finish goals. So I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the chat. I hope you come along all next week and we'll see you all again. And sure, we'll have a chat about something else. And I bet you'll be totally different next week.
Yeah,
totally different. It's been totally different the last few weeks.
You're definitely going to go up a mountain next week and go, do you know chickens? They smell like, popcorn from like a carnival, and people will be going, do they?
No, I actually, I'm going not hunting, but searching for deer. Maybe at the weekend because they make a weird sound.
Okay. Phil, I'm going.
Talking about that next
Phil,
week,
it's 28 minutes past 11 and I'm going. You're just going to look for deer because they make mad noises. I have to go, please.
That's it. That's been the show. That's been me. That's been Gav. Good night. God bless. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
The button.